Even though there are multiple different coin benders out there that you can use, we're gonna tell you how you can very easily bend a coin without needing to have any of those. My preferred coin bender is the Ox Bender by Many Lindenfeld. It's absolutely fantastic. It is my go-to. I take it with me everywhere I go. So I highly, highly recommend the Ox Bender. If you don't have that, or you don't have any of the other ones, you can use some of these pliers. It doesn't have to be exactly these. Could be any type of pliers that you have. The one thing you will need is some sort of rag or something that's going to protect your coins. Now, first we started looking around and we find the blindfolds from the 13 Steps to Mentalism, but we didn't really want to mess them up. So we're not going to use those. We have a rag. We also have like felt. We also have a curtain that you can use. You can use a shirt. You could use a microfiber. You could use basically anything. For now, I'm going to just use this little felt that I have here. I think that's what it's called. But the way in which Titanus likes to bend the coin specifically for the Firefly is by creating a bend not in the middle of the coin like you would this way, but by actually having it in the corner. That's going to give you multiple different benefits in the routine that we'll get to it when we're explaining the routine. For now, let's just learn how to bend it. So just keep in mind, we're trying to bend only the edge of the coin. You will see. So the first thing I will do is place the coin here. Hopefully you can see that. I'm going to try to let you see it as much as possible, but I will first show you where I'm going to put this one. Let's say this is the one I'm going to use to bend the coin. So I'm going to place it, as you see, just in that little end. And I can tell that I need to tighten this, so I'm going to tighten it so that it becomes tight. I want to put the edge right there. Okay, so it's just holding on to the edge, maybe about 10% of the coin. I'm then going to use the other one to grab the coin. Of course, I'm putting it, as you see here, underneath. I need to look. Okay, there we go. So now I have the coin gripped, and it is the tools are not technically touching the coin. That's because we don't want it to score the coin. And now I'm just going to bend it. I believe Titanus also mentioned that the way he does this is by placing the coin on, let's check if it's bent. Yep. So there we go. Notice how it has a tiny bend at the edge. This very quickly is so that you can actually hold the coin like that and it looks pretty straight. Your spectators can sign it, and then we can get this style of bend where it starts to move back, and then you make it bend even further or even forward like this. Okay, but we're getting a little bit too ahead of ourselves. Again, feel free to use any type of tools and any type of cloth or rag to protect your coin. You don't really want the teeth of your tools to penetrate and kind of damage the coin. When you hand it to your spectators, they may notice that, and then the illusion is gone. You want it to have absolutely no marks that you've tampered with that coin. And as I mentioned, this is how I like to bend coins. I've never done it on a door, but Titanus says he usually just places the coin on the hinge part of the door, and then you slowly close it, and then that will cause the coin to bend. So now that you know how to bend your coin and you have your coin ready to go, we can get into the explanation. Here is a pseudo performance of a coin bend. Now you would ask your spectators to remove coins. So maybe they take a bunch of coins in their hand. You then reach over and you pull out a coin. Oh, would you look at that? This one's already signed. So we don't need to sign it. But at this point, you would technically have your spectator hand them a Sharpie and they would sign the coin for you. Then all you do is you very clearly place the coin into your hand and you just try to warm it up. Ooh, just like that. It warms up, it warms up, it warms up until I think it's malleable enough. So now you can take the coin and almost start bending that coin, as you see, just like that. Ooh, it's already started to bend. You can see that there. Let's try it just a little bit more. Just like this. And it bends and it bends. And immediately you can now hand this out to your spectators and they can keep that. Well, technically it was theirs if they pull the coin. If not, you gave them a quarter. To perform this routine is actually pretty simple, but don't be fooled by its simplicity. Your spectators are going to freak out. If you've ever done a coin bend, I don't have to tell you, you already know. If you haven't, you're in for an amazing treat. So you, of course, will need your Firefly. Have your pre-bent coin all ready to go. Now, you can pre-bend a bunch of coins so that if you're going to be doing walk around, you don't have to go and secretly bend a coin each time. You just have maybe 5 or 10 with you. And now you can perform the effect multiple times. So I'm going to try to wipe off the signature here. There we go. So imagine it's nice and clean. All you need to do now is just ask your spectators to borrow some coins. Oh, does anybody have coins? Gather them up, and then we're going to do our move. Now, I do recommend if you are for sure going to perform this effect and you really want to add it in your set, make sure you also have some spare coins with you in case your spectators don't have coins. You can pull those out, pour them into their hand, and then go into the routine. So in order to set up, you of course need your Firefly. The way in which we like to set up the Firefly for this one specifically, just to change it up, is by placing it in the ring finger that you feel comfortable using sleight of hand with. So in this case, I'm going to use my left hand, and notice how the light is towards the palm. So if we press that there, it's ready to go. Now, we also have it on the setting that it waits 3 seconds for it to turn on. It'll be on for a while, and then it's going to shut off. So once you have that ready, you can have it on. And then the coin, you're going to place the bent part on your finger palm like this. So it's technically bent down. Your Firefly is right here. And now you're pretty much ready to go. Of course, make sure you also have a Sharpie. Feel free to have the Sharpie in the hand that you have everything palmed so that it just looks a little bit more natural. Hand this, ask them, do you have some coins? They will have pull some coins. If not, here's when you can pull your coins out, give it to them. Now you can transfer the Sharpie to the other hand. As you go inside or on their hands, all you're going to do is just push that coin to your fingertips, and you just pretend like you're picking up the coin from their hands. That's why you're asking them for a bunch of coins. That way they don't really know what you're using. Another possibility is to take, if they just have one, so then you would have to do some sort of shuttle pass in order to switch their coin into this one. A little YouTube search should show you exactly how to do that. But very quickly, that's there. This is here. As you pretend to place it, that coin comes away, and this is here. Now that we're here, we can have the spectator sign the coin, and I accidentally turn it on as I opened it. Of course, your spectators would be doing this for you. So let's pretend they sign that. Ooh. And now all you need to do is place the coin in the hand. Okay, you don't want to let go because then they'll see the bent coin already. You could do that if you lift your hand up and you kind of cover. So that's one way in which you could do that if you want. But if not, you would just place the coin in the hand. From here, we can take a look. All we're going to do now is press the button, okay, and cover. Now, a little nice touch from Matt behind the camera is not to cover here, but if you open there slightly as well, you'll get some beautiful light that's also going to shine from underneath. So once you do your little heat up right there, boom, you just time it so that the moment it turns off, you can now come and grab it again. Now, it's going to be up to you whether you want to reveal that it bent already, or what Titanus likes to do is to grab it again. This makes the hand now look natural, like you couldn't have something in there. But now it's super simple. This is the exposed view to make it look like, because you just heated up the coin now starts to bend. And all you're really doing is just pressing that down, but you're doing it ever so slightly to make it look like that coin is bending on its own. If you want, you can show that it already started to bend, put it in the other hand, and now with the thumb and index finger, you have it bend up some more. Okay, so then you have it bent some more. At this point, you can have your spectators say like, oh, can you place your hand palm up? You can use this hand to gesture and make it look like there's nothing in there, but it's here. Just make sure, of course, you don't flash it. Then you bend this, and let's imagine this is the spectator's hands, and then when you're ready, you drop it into their hand, and they can now keep what they believe is their coin. So that would be a very simple way in which you could use Firefly to make a coin bend. An extra little step you can do is, and we'll show you how to do this later, but for now, just know that you can put a red film or filter on top of this. We'll show you how to do that later. But then what that's going to do is make it seem like the light that's coming from there is actually a heat, or it's fire, or because red is usually associated with higher temperatures. So for those reasons, you could just tweak it up. We show you how to do it later with blue, but again, you can do it with any color. Feel free to do it with red. As I have already mentioned, my favorite coin bender is the ox bender. Now, if you happen to have it, great. What I will tell you will immediately let you perform the effect with it. I, of course, can't expose it to you. That wouldn't be nice of me to do. So I'm just going to talk in code almost. So you would have your Firefly ready to go in the pocket in which you will ditch your ox bender. You do your whole entire regular ox bending routine in the same way that you normally would. At some point, you're going to have the coin signed from your spectators in your fist. It's going to be there perfectly bent, and it's going to be time for you to get rid of your Sharpie along with the ox bender. This is the moment we will load Firefly. So as we get rid of both of those things, which you already do during that routine, the only extra thing you will do now is get your Firefly stuck in your hand, ready to go. I recommend you have it in the off position in your pocket. Stick it in your hand. I would do the middle finger so that it's easier. And after it's stuck, you turn it on. That way you don't accidentally turn it on when you don't want it to. Then you just do everything we did with the coin bend here already. You would then, rather than it being open, you just have it in a closed fist. You then say, I'm going to warm it up. So you come over, you warm it up there just like that. But now you just use the ox bender instead. Squeeze. The only difference is you may not be able to do the actual coin bend that normally happens like this. You could, in fact, I've done it a couple times. It just usually looks better when you have the coin bend in the corner, not in the middle. But the beautiful thing about this is that this is not a switched coin. You actually can get your spectators to take out any coin they have. they'll take the Sharpie, they'll sign it in their own hand so that they can see that it's perfectly flat. And then before they know it, you've already bent it out in the open, incredibly beautifully done and with a lot of ease. You can tell I really like Oxbender. And then you place that coin into your hand, and naturally you need to get rid of the Sharpie anyway. So you also get rid of the Oxbender. You load this up, continue on, and you've now bent a coin with Oxbender and Firefly. You can either borrow a bill or bring one out on your own. But you just take a bill here like this, and if you rub it against the table, right, you're going to be able to cover it up and just maybe have it, ooh, come to life ever so slightly, just like this. And then you can clearly see it transforms into a little origami crane that you can then hand out to your spectators and they can keep. This is an incredible idea from Mr. Senor Lloyd Barnes. So we were jamming over Skype, or shouldn't say Skype, FaceTime. Let's say FaceTime. And we were talking about Firefly, and he came up with this. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. He has other methods for accomplishing this that we cannot disclose yet, but soon in the future, you may be aware of this amazing, incredible thing that Lloyd is working on right now. So for those reasons, we're going to be teaching it to you this way. I'm also going to give you other possibilities. I will mention you probably don't want to be lapping stuff when you are standing up. You may want to sit down. That way everything looks a little bit more natural and easier to do. But we just wanted to share the idea. Great idea from Lloyd. So you want to go online and find out how to do an origami bill. It took me less than 10 minutes to learn, and now I think I can do this for the rest of my life. It's super, super simple. If you don't want to do a crane, feel free to do anything at all that you want. There's tons and tons of tutorials on YouTube that teach you how to do origami, like hearts, shirts, little stakes, flowers, millions of different things. I just like this one. So you're going to need to, of course, have this already pre-folded, and then you can either borrow a bill or take one out yourself. You're gonna, as you already know, you're gonna have this on the automatic mode. That's the bottommost section. And then just like we did the coin band pretty much, you can either put the light there or on the bottom, completely up to you. And what I like to do is use the head of the crane to clip it like that. Once you have this ready, you're ready to begin. Now, you just hold on to a bill in that hand and everything looks a little bit more natural. Now, all we're going to do is lap this. If we were sitting, it's going to look a lot better. But all lapping is, you use your index finger to shoot that down and it'll technically go onto your lap. That's why it's called lapping. You shouldn't do it standing up. I needed to somewhat naturalize it. So that's why I said if we warm it up or if we heat it up, I rubbed it on the table. That way I could do that. I could kind of get closer to the table. Now, one of the key things you want to do when lapping is you want to make sure that arm is straight on the table and you don't have a gap opening. If not, they can see it. You want to wait until the hand is covering the other hand in order to do the lapping. You don't want to go like this and then come here. So you want to time it so that once it's covered, then you do the lapping. So poop, you do your lapping and then you move forward. Again, really awkward because I'm standing. Now, from here, you have that already there. You can press it against there as you drop your little crane and you make it come to life. Here, feel free to use any colored filter that you want on top. We're going to get into how to do that later. Feel free to make it green, red, or any color you want. Once it's done, you then come over, grab it, and you now have a little souvenir that you can give to your spectators. If you don't want to do lapping, or what if you want to do this walk around? Very simple. You can attach this to a reel. So if you put this on a reel or you put it on anything that's going to easily make it vanish for you, you're going to be able to get rid of this and then load your paper crane and then get into the lighting effect, which is almost bringing the bill to life, which then gives you a very organic little souvenir for your spectators. Here's an idea that you can do. If we just come over and you just concentrate, you'll see obviously the light starts to trigger, but it's not just the light. You can clearly see that it's also coming with the smoke, and then there's nothing left. Now, of course, you will need a smoke device in order to perform this. There's multiple different devices out there that you can choose from. We just wanted to give you the idea or give you the example of what something like that might look like so that you can choose, if you don't have one, whether to get one, or if you do have one, to blend them together, to marry them and come up with your own routines, because you can technically do this same effect with, say, the ice appearing, or you could do this with the coin band, or you could do this with the bill that folds on its own, or even you could even do it with the light bulb sticker. Technically, you would be able to combine this with absolutely anything you want, and you can also use the idea we will talk about later of including or putting a little film filter, a color filter, and that way your smoke would almost take the color of whatever filter you use on your device. Now, all we're doing is we have our little smoke device here, and we're just triggering it so that it turns on at the same time that that light is turning on. Another idea from Patrick Wolford is to use this with a bubble and smoke at the same time. Now, you may have seen this in the trailer. It's maybe incredibly difficult to actually perform this live or to work it into your show, but feel free to use it in social media if you like the look and the style of this. We just wanted to include it, that way you know how we did it. The idea is you want to have some sort of smoke device. In this case, we're using a vape. So you just, and smoke comes out. Now, at least I don't smoke, so the one I got is 0 nicotine if you want, and it's flavorful, so it's actually tasty when you do it. But if you do smoke, you can do it with just the cigarettes or anything else you smoke. I don't know. I'm not judging. So the point is you need some sort of smoke. Some people use smoke machines to do it, but this is just how we did it. Take a little straw. We took some water, added soap to it, and we also added some of the liquid that goes into the vape, which is some sort of glycerin, I believe. But we took some of it and we added it in there. Now, we found this online. This is how you actually make bubbles that withstand a lot of, I guess, or they don't pop as easily, I should say. All you have to do is dip the inside there. Don't move it too fast because you may break it. So you go a little slow, and then you get bubbles. Now, the way in which you get the bubble with the smoke in is you take some smoke in, you put it in, and then you blow it out. So I'll show you that now. Now, you're probably wondering, well, why did it pop in my hand? That's because I didn't get my hand wet. We don't have access to water here very easily. We're in a remote location. No, I'm kidding. We just don't want to make a mess here. But the way in which we did it in the trailer is if you have your hand wet, you'll be able to take the smoke. And here you can see it just kind of lands there. Okay. If you have your hand wet, it'll fall in your hand and then you'll be able to actually hold it there. It'll stay there for a really long time. It won't pop. Here, I'm guessing it's popping because this is like a felt and maybe there's like dust particles and it's penetrating that bubble. But you would technically have it in your hand, load it up, load your mouth up, get this here. Oh, actually don't have it. You would have it in this hand, not this hand. If the hand is wet, you would have it in that hand. Come over, do your thing, you do your bubble, it'll land in the hand, and you would just light it up like that. And now that would be lit up. The other way in which you could do it is by having the bubble fall from the top, and then you have your gimmick underneath, and it's just shining at the bubble. We do not recommend that you let it fall on it. You don't want to damage the actual electronics in your Firefly, but this is just technically how we got that shot you may have seen in the trailer. A lot of people use either crystals, sounds, or even like deep meditation in order to activate their third eye. Now, you're not going to have to do any of that because you're going to be able to activate your third eye with a third eye sticker. So this is, we're using the same sticker that we used for the light bulb, but we're now just making an eye. You, of course, don't even have to use the sticker. You can use what we're going to show you in just a second and just do that. But if you have the sticker, which we have here, we just basically drew a little eye. You can put it on your forehead. Technically, it should be like right there. And now you have there's multiple versions. We're going to show you all of them. The first one is going to be on the back of your thumb. So if you're doing the one that's on the back of your thumb, you could, you could take the sticker and place it on there just like that. Then you could close your eyes, and as you place the sticker, close your eyes and say maybe stimulate it a little bit. Now we press it against the forehead, and just like this, we're getting it to kind of like shine where that third eye is. When I see it turns off, I immediately open my eyes and you can remove it. So now let's take a look at an exposed view so you can see what's going on here. We take it, you can even use both hands to help you cover that light even more. Stick it on there, but then I'll remove this hand so you can see what's happening. We're going to press the button almost with like the bony part of your forehead. Make sure that's stuck. Boop. Now we're going to time it so that we close our eyes when the light turns on. Then we're going to be able to tell that that light is dimming, and then we open our eyes. That way it almost seems like it only lights up when your eyes are closed if you want to. But the idea is, again, this is facing back. You can even open it slightly, but by having it like this, so almost like you're just concentrating the energy to your third eye, you have it light up in that way. This is not the only place in which you can do it. You can, of course, place it on any of the fingers that you feel more comfortable, and then you're doing this type of thing. If you want to also cover it up like this so that it's just a little different, you can. I'll show you what that looks like. Or you can be a little more like this, and it's almost like light is being shown there, and then you can open your eyes. You're definitely going to be able to see when that light is dimming, because the redness that you see, the thing is, it's really difficult for me to tell because I have this super bright light over here. So I can't really tell. And he's showing you. Amazing. Okay, now you don't, of course, have to use this. If you're with friends who are into that type of stuff, you could very easily just show them, tell them if you stimulate your third eye, and as you're doing that, the light, the Firefly is not really touching your forehead. Whenever you want to actually do it, you press, and now you do the same thing as if you had it, but now they're going to see this light appear there. You can cover a little more if you want. You can open, completely up to you, and then you show that there's nothing in your hands. With this one, we're going to use the light to bring back life. It's almost like it has a little cool symbology behind it because you are almost reversing time. Sure. So, so this is basically what you'll need. And I will mention when we filmed the performance, that was a week ago. Now we're doing the instructions, and our little gimmick is already starting to die. So you will have to create this whenever you want to perform. Of course, if you're going to go on a walk with friends or a partner or something, or if you're going to be doing an outdoors performance, that's when you would set this up in order to perform it. You will find a leaf that is very beautiful, and then on the other side you have a leaf that's the completely opposite color. It's going to be the same leaf, it's just already almost dying. So when the leaf starts to get brown, or it starts to wilt, I believe it's the proper word, that's what you want. Now, what I technically did is I found a green leaf, a very nice, beautiful leaf that was way bigger. With rubber cement, I put it on both sides. I waited about 1 minute, and then we put them together. Now, technically, the green leaf, the one that's full of life, was way bigger. All I did was cut it to be the exact size of the one that was wilted. Also, you'll see that I left the little stems right there because all you really need to do for this is the paddle move. So you show one side, and when you bring it up, you show the other side, and then you bring it down and you show. So you're basically just, as you go up, okay, and you turn, this is the move. You're basically just twisting it back and forth so that it looks like you're showing both sides, but in reality, you're just showing one. Now, I didn't really go like this and start showing it. I just made it seem like I plucked it off of the leaf, of the tree, I should say. And then as I went to place it down, that's the illusion I wanted to give it, almost as if I'm just placing it there. You just do that move when it's in line with the spectator's eyesight. So it comes there, place it down, and you already know how to do the rest. The only little touch that I would like to give you is, if you, and of course don't turn it on prematurely, but if you have it on the fingers, automatically by doing the move, let me do the move here so you can see, automatically doing the move will flip that leaf over. Of course, that's happening underneath. The little touch that I wanted to give is, when the light lights up, flick your finger back and forth, and that's going to give the illusion like something is happening in there. Once it goes out, you just, of course, just show that the leaf is back to normal. And there you go. That's how you can bring a dead leaf back to life with Firefly. It's a little warm. Let's try this. Hold on. Ooh. Oh. And I think that should be it. Much better. Well, you saw the light and it came out blue. Now, you can forget about the trick making the ice appear. That's the reason why we went blue, because water is usually connected with the color blue. But this is all we did in order to get that light to look blue. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this in case you want to turn the light not just blue, but any color at all that you want. What you will need are some of these gels. Now, these are technically photography or film gels. They're used to turn a light into whatever color you put in front of it. You can just find some translucent papers that are any color you want at all whatsoever. All I did here is I took the size of, let's use another one so you can see. If you take the width of that Firefly, So I'm basically lining it up on that side, and I'm gonna cut just a little bit. Technically slightly, I would say that's a little less than an inch. Now that you have this, this is going to go over. So you can take some tape, pull out. You don't really need that much. I'm also taking about an inch, but I'm not going to put it on top the same way. I'm actually going to put it sideways. I'm going to leave just a little bit, maybe like 2 or 3 millimeters right here so that the tape can stick to the Firefly, yet that blue gel is going to be above the LED light. Now you just kind of wrap the tape around, and then what you'll need to do is take another piece of tape, not that much, just a little bit, and now we're going to fold the gel around it. Okay, then you take the tape, this is the back of Firefly, and we now just tape it. Everything that you have extra, you can just cut it off. We don't need it. Just be careful with your Firefly like this. Boop. And make sure that's stuck. And that's it. Now, when you, let me turn it on. Now, when you turn it on, you'll see that the light will shine that color or whatever color you have. It doesn't matter which color gel you have. If you want the color to be more dense or to show up a lot more, so then as you can see here, if I shine it here, you get, let me put it so that it stays on. Okay, this is not going to turn off. So you can take a look at that blue there. If I put another layer, all that means is you would have just put two. You'll see that the blue, oh, I turned it off. Let me turn it back on for you. You'll see that the blue is now going to be way more blue. Oh, and I turned it off again. Hi, hi, hi. All right, there we go. So now it depends how many layers. Let's do it here. So you can see there, that's how blue it is. If we do one layer, it is still obviously very blue, but not as blue. So feel free to stack as many layers, play with it, see the color. Once you get the color that you like, go ahead, tape it up, and you will now be able to produce any color light that you want. All you need is a little gel, color gel, with some tape. Let's say you're going to propose. Actually, let's not say that. Let's just say you're going to open up a little jewelry box. You have a jewelry box and you want to open it up. So when you do, ooh, that's very shiny. That's very, very shiny. I love that. I'm pretty sure she's going to love it. But you know what? I actually can't show you. So that's going to be, we'll leave the mystery, stay alive. As you can see, I didn't know what to say. But the idea is that you can open up your little box or your jewelry, and you can basically, I just press there, and then once you turn it on, it looks like the light is coming from inside. Maybe you have a super shiny ring, or you're going to use something really amazing. Once you pull it out, the light will go out. The other thing you could do is, as you have this open, of course it's going to turn on. You want to time it so that when you open it, it works really good. And then also once it starts to dim, that's the moment you actually close it up so that there's no more light. You don't have to use a jewelry box. You could use any type of box that you want. For instance, you could even do a card box. Let's say you're going to do a card trick. This is closed here. You come over, and as you open it, ooh, you see something super interesting there. Yep, super interesting. It's going to be one of the best card tricks you will ever see. In fact, let me show you. And now as you pull the cards out, you put the cards down. And if you want to clean up, you remove this from here. Oh, you would, as you remove that from here, you put everything away and you're good to go. Now, Another thing that Titanic showed me that looks super cool, we just don't have one here in the studio, is if you have a little tiny baggie. We're going to pretend, shameless plug, bounce no bounce, we're going to pretend that this is a little baggie. He likes to have it either shine from, let's say, the inside, like this. So let's turn it on. Now, this is, of course, thick cardboard, so it's not going to really look that good. And we have a bright light right there. But it would technically, if it was a bag, it would start shining on the inside. The other way in which you could get it to shine is by having it on the back of your thumb and placing your finger inside like this. So now, with the thumb inside of the bag, the whole bag would technically light up and it'll look like almost like light is shooting up from the inside of the bag. So those are some little ideas of another way in which you can use the Firefly. We wanted to include this as well just because we had a ton of fun with it. We started sharing this video across like all of Murphy's. Everybody was getting a kick out of it. So for those reasons, we're including it here. I technically don't think it really needs an explanation. You already know by having watched everything before this how to do it. It's just a little presentation of asking, do you believe in fairies? Or feel free to take it in any route at all that you want. But it is the fact that they don't believe that causes the light to go away. So we hope you enjoy it. If you do it, make sure you tag us. We would like to see how you perform it as well as the reaction to your spectators. I feel like that would be a ton of fun.
Do you believe in fairies?
Of course I believe in fairies. They're like the most beautiful thing. Look, check it out. You just kind of believe and they show up. Ah, they're so nice. You see, do you believe in them?
No.
No. What do you mean?
I don't believe in fairies.
No, you have to believe in them.
No, I don't.
You have...
No.
Where did they go? Please believe in fairies. Here in the US, we can't really use walking liberties for payment, but what we can do is just give it a little switch. And if we switch it kind of like this, you can see it starts to light up ever so slightly. And that's just causing that coin to transform into actually something that we can use, like this $5 bill. So we're not, and you can show your hands back and forth. So Titanus had a dream. And in this dream, he had this idea. So we're now going to show you what it is, how you can very easily put it together so that you can too, not just do this thing that I showed you, but you will see that you'll be able to make that light appear and vanish, and your hands will be completely 100% empty, as well as you'll be able to vanish any object whatsoever completely from your hands or switch it into something else like I have just done here. So let's take a look at that gimmick right now. All you're going to need to put together this little gimmick is common things you can find around your house. If not, they are incredibly easy to find. I made this one with rubber bands. I specifically went with a yellow so that you could easily pick it up on camera and you could see it during the explanation. But really you want to go with a dark color, or at least a color that's going to match what you're going to wear. Another option, if you don't want to go with rubber bands, you could go with elastic. Now this is a little thick. Maybe you want to use a slightly less thick, so a thinner elastic, but it's going to be completely up to you. I technically would go with the elastic so that it lasts a lot longer than just the rubber bands, but the rubber bands were perfectly fine, as you'll see in just a moment. Another thing you will need is going to be some fishing string. This one specifically is 20 pounds, but I'm sure you can get away with a lot less or even a lot more. Completely up to you. The other thing we're using is the little rubber bands that are included in your package. I will reiterate again, just in case if you need more of these rubber bands, these are the same rubber bands used for braces as well as for the braids in your hair. So if you go to Walmart or any not stationery store, But any of those big stores or a beauty shop, they're going to have these little rubber bands. You just want to get the clear ones. Now that we have that out of the way, we can technically put this together. The first thing you'll do is use a loop of the fishing string. The length is going to be dependent completely on the size of your hand and your fingers. The idea is to make a loop where when you put one end of the loop against your middle finger, the firefly will end somewhere behind your palm. You don't want it to be above your fingers. You want it to be completely hidden in your palm. I've made this one specifically so that it lands right in the center. But if it was a little bit higher or a little bit lower, it's completely okay as well. So once you have your loop, what you want to do is place the loop in the little opening where you usually put your rubber bands. So you're going to stick it in there, and then you're going to take a rubber band from the ones you received and place it right on top of your fishing string loop. This is going to make it so that the fishing string becomes trapped in there and it can't come out. What I've actually done for this one is I placed the rubber band and then I looped it around so it's technically doubled over, making a really tight fit so that this doesn't come out. The other thing you want to do is make sure that your knot stays near the firefly and not on the sides. What Titanus was actually able to do, because he had a slightly thinner fishing string, is he put the knot inside of the groove or firefly, hiding it even further and creating a little bit more pressure so that it stays within it even further. So once you have this, and I should mention in case you haven't noticed here, that you're putting the string technically on the slit that is by the LED, by the light, okay? And then on the other side, you'll notice that I have taken a rubber band and just wrapped it multiple times around it, again, to create that pressure and that friction so that it stays there and it doesn't come out. So you're gonna have a little loop like this. Then attached to that, all I did is I took a rubber band. I technically ripped it with my mouth. I don't want to do that on camera, but I ripped it, cut it, however you want. And now you're going to get a kind of like a long string. Of course, if you want to use the elastic, omit this part. You use the elastic instead. But because I use the rubber band here, I'll teach it with that. The one thing that is important is you want to tie one end to the end of the string, and you want to tie it multiple times and stretch it and pull it so that it's tight. If you only do 1 or 2 knots, the moment you start stretching it, the rubber band may be slippery and it becomes thinner and it'll come out. For those reasons, do a lot of knots on this side and do a lot of knots on the side of the safety pin, which I forgot to mention you will need. So you're going to need also a safety pin, super easy to find. Tie it on the bottom there as much as you can. And then this is going to go on your jacket. I will show you somewhat where I put it, which is going to be around this area here, but on the inside, of course. The reason you have it on that area there is so that when the string stretches, technically your arm is going to hide the string. Again, you should be using a black rubber band. You can get the executive rubber bands from Joe R. I can't pronounce his last name. You'll have to excuse me. But he has the executive bands, and those come in white and black. So once you have that, if you want to use rubber bands, you can use those. If not, this is going to be black and it's going to be hidden with the shadows and the clothing that you're wearing. But this is basically all you need in order to perform the things we're about to show you. So once you hook this up into your jacket, we can start learning how to perform with this little gimmick. Once you have your gimmick already built and set up on your jacket, you're going to be able to, of course, have it here, and the loop is going to go on your middle finger, as you already know. So we're going to place it there. Notice how it lands right in the middle. This is how you set it up, and it's super simple at this point. All you do is you come over, and once you press the button, the light will obviously shine. You can get your light here. make whatever movements you want. And then once you notice that that light is dimming, that's when all you have to do is curl in that middle finger, and it's going to shoot inside of your jacket. If you're familiar with using, let's say, the Gecko Pro, or other similar products that use the same elastic system, this is easy breezy for you. But now, that's just how to generate the light and have the light vanish so that you actually end completely 100% clean, right? So that's there. And then as the light starts to dim, you just rub your hands together and it shoots inside of your jacket. But what if you want to make something vanish? Well, we're going to borrow the same concept from the Gecko Pro, and all we're going to do is you can use some of the little tack or the putty that you received, and then you're going to place it on the button. Now, you can use any sort of blue tack or even a sticky dot if you want it to be even stronger. But since here all we're doing is pulling a coin, the sticky dot is going to be more than perfect. So the button will serve as our vanisher as well as the trigger for our light. So as we come over, we just press, which is going to stick that. You see, it's stuck. Now you're getting that light to shine, and then you do the same thing as we did before. All we're going to do now is just release, and that coin will vanish. So now let's get into how to switch one object for another. It will require a little bit of setup, but you already know half of it. We're going to use our Firefly gimmick as kind of like our holdout. So, for instance, we used a bill. You can use anything, a playing card, another coin, a toy car, the origami trick that we taught you. You can just place that on there and have the bill switched out and turned into the origami bill in this manner. So here you would have the origami bill, and then you have a regular bill here. Now all we're doing, and this is of course from the exposed view, we come over, this is hidden. If your hand is not big enough to hide the entire bill, fold it one more time like this, and you are golden. Again, this could be a playing card or anything you want. So from here, you come over, you stick it, the light will turn on as you see there. And now the beautiful thing is when that light turns off and I release the string, the bill will stay, the coin and Firefly will vanish, and you have the bill here ready to show. Now, that's pretty much the basics. This is just to get you started so you can think of vanishing objects or transforming objects into something else, or just using it to make the light appear and then end completely clean in case you don't want to ditch it. The other thing we want to show you, if you're just going to be using the light, is how to display your hand empty with just the light. So here we will have this. I triggered it because I just removed that. But the idea, and of course, remember, you would have this black, or you could even use a Sharpie to darken it, but it wouldn't be this visible. We did this for the camera so that you could see the color. But if it's black, it would be hidden even further. The move is as follows. You kind of add a little bit of room here. You curl the fingers in and you show the hand. You then curl it back in and it shows the back of the hand. So here you show and then you show. So that's basically a way in which you can show the hand, come over, do your move, get your light to appear, and then you just reverse the move. But as you do, you now actually let go of the string, and then that will just shoot straight into your jacket. Here is yet another trick that Titanus came up with in his dream. So I will show you, and this is a little weird, but it is in his dream, and he just visualized a light appearing in between both of his hands, just like this. And from that light, a beautiful coin materialized out of nowhere. And that is just a little Morgan dollar that you can use. And the beautiful thing is you can take that coin and hand it to your spectators. Now, this is true. Titanus did come up with this in his dreams. And it's actually super clever because you're not just going to be able to do it with the coin. You can do it with any object like a chocolate bar, money, a toy, your AirPods, anything at all that you want. All you will need is, of course, your Firefly with the sticky tack on the back, and you just stick it on the coin. Now, a Morgan is perfect because it hides the Firefly perfectly behind it. So use a coin that is large enough. If not, use an object that is large enough to hide it. It's not that important that it's actually large enough because you can hide it with your fingers. If it was, say, on a smaller coin like a Walking Liberty, you could just, when you produce it, you show it like this, and you're basically using your fingers to hide that little bit there. I like to use the Morgan, and so does Titanus, so we will teach it with the Morgan. So once you have the coin ready to go, his preferred method for making this happen is by having it in, I believe this is called Down's Palm, but you just have it in this way. What I did is I just had my hands on the table here. I came up to fix my jacket to make it seem like my hands don't have anything. And then you come over here. Play in front of the mirror so you can get used to this palm if you haven't used it before. But the idea now is that as you come over, you can use your pinky to trigger the light, and then you have that light appear. From here, you can see everything that's happening. From here, you can, of course, see that the hand looks empty and the light is just flickering on your hand. All you have to do to make that coin appear is just drop it. Now, you don't want to just show it like that. The reason I don't drop it into my fingers is because I have my wedding band right there. But if I didn't, I would technically drop it there and kind of cup it like this and then pick it up. Now, notice I don't pick it up this way so that we try to avoid showing that. You hold it facing towards you. From there, all it's going to take is a little tiny pull, and that Firefly will come off, and then you can just palm it. Now, if you want to show the coin in this hand and then show it in the other hand, you could just almost, it's really hard to do it slow, but I will try. What you do is you toss this to that hand, and at the same time you toss the Firefly onto that other hand. Now, if you're afraid you're going to drop it, do not try this. If anything, practice finding an object that is around the same size and weight as this so you can get used to it, and then you could try it. But the idea is that this would be in finger palm, kind of fingertip rest, I would say. And as you throw this to this hand, notice how one palm is down, the other palm is face up, and they will just switch. And as they switch, that coin is going to travel into this hand, and this Firefly is going to travel into that hand. So you basically do that, and you should grab it. Not like I just did. I'm trying to do it as slow as possible for you, but the idea is like this. So once it arrives there, you can pick it up and show it, and now it appears that you've shown both hands completely empty. Of course, it goes without saying, making the coin or starting with the coin in Down's Palm is not the only way in which you can perform this. You can have it, if you don't want to use that, you can have it in finger palm, you can have it in classic palm, you can have it even in this little grip there. Drop it as you show, maybe squeeze the hand so that the light starts to appear, and then you just have it in almost like a Ramsey subtlety so that it's there, and then you can show this hand completely empty, and once it's time, you show that it's turned into a coin. Now, I didn't set it up properly. I should have probably put it a little more there so that it doesn't show, but you get the idea. The point is that you can put Firefly, stick it behind an object, palm the object, make the light appear, and then transform it into the object while using the object to hide your Firefly. And so for that, we have to thank Titanus's beautiful dreams. Here's how to bring Men in Black to life. You have a Sharpie, you have them look into the light, and you'll see that, boop, it'll just absolutely give them that little flash, making it seem like you're getting their memory erased. And I'm not going to lie, it is a little bit difficult to get into it in front of your spectators. So you're going to need to use the rubber bands for this one. If you have them on your thumb like this with it facing out, and we have the flash setting on, so it just turns on when you press it. So what you want to do is peel back or open it with that middle finger. Okay, this is going to happen behind the hand. So from the front, it technically, you can't see that. So once you open it, you'll see that gap in there. That's where that Sharpie is going to go in. Okay, so it's going to go in, and as you see, it'll just be trapped behind your hand. But what that's going to let you do, number one, is you can show it this way, hiding everything. And when you have it face up or facing the audience, you can then bring back your finger as you press the light, and then you bring it back out, and now you can show it like this. So it shows there, and then you immediately put it back. Of course, to take it out, just pull it ever so slightly open, that way there's less friction, and then the Sharpie will come out. Now, this is a fun little idea because it has the flash feature. Titanis was working and working and working into figuring out what was the best way to accomplish this. This is what he came up with. And then we showed it to our boss here in the studio, George, and he thought of a clever idea to use with this concept, and is pairing it together with an effect where the spectator forgets the card. So you could have a card picked by the spectator. You can force it or whatever you like. You then change it to a blank card as they hold it in their hand. You do the little light. It shines in their face. You ask them to name the card. They will name the card that they picked, but then when they look, you tell them you didn't pick that. You're just creating that image. That actually never happened. Take a look at the card you actually picked, and then it's going to be a completely blank card. You can take this concept and apply it to many other tricks. If you have a spectator forgets an information effect, you can feel free to use the Sharpie or this Men in Black style of flashing effect, and then pair it with that trick you already know. All right, so this is kind of like a little bonus. We've been playing a lot with stealing the light off of the spectator's phone. You've already learned that trick, plus combining it with turning on your spectator's flashlight on their phone. What we want to share with you here is a different way of attaching your Firefly gimmick onto the spectator's phone so that you can make it seem like the actual light on their phone is being displayed. The way in which we're going to do that, we're going to get to in just a couple of minutes. But for now, just know we have the Firefly on. We have it on the lowermost setting, which is the fully automatic. And the way in which we like to palm it is by placing the light on the ring finger. So see right there. But we're going to have it turned off. Okay, and in reality, you're going to be holding this in this way. You don't really want that middle finger there, just in case we press that button. We want to avoid that. So you want to have that resting in your hand like this. We're then going to get our spectator's phone, and we're going to borrow the spectator's phone. Usually when people hand you a phone, they're going to hand it to you facing up. So they're going to give you the phone. Immediately, you're going to come over and you're going to load, and I'll show you from underneath how it looks. I'm going to load it right on top of their cameras. Now, you'll notice that what we're doing, and the reason it was angled that way or positioned that way in your fingers, is so that it can attach to it. It goes without saying that we do have the putty on it as well. I'm sure you saw it, but that is how we're letting it stick on the spectator's phone. You don't have to really make sure that it's exactly there. As you'll see when you face it to your spectators, and you can try this in the mirror, you'll notice that you can't really tell where the actual flashlight is as long as it's somewhere on that camera. So go ahead, and then once you stick it onto the spectator's phone, all you're going to have to do is turn your flashlight on. And again, once you come into the flashlight, you can actually change the wait time right up there to see how long is going to take for that light to turn off. And then the wait time, we're going to leave it at the 8 seconds. and then we'll have that light turn back on. So pretty much nothing changes. It's just how you present it, you're going to choose those seconds there. So I'm going to leave it at 5 seconds because what happens is I ask the spectator, do you mind taking out your phone? They take out their phone. I turn the light on, and now as I grab the phone, the moment I stick it on, you also make sure that you stick it. You press that, but that's why we were being careful not to press it before, because we don't want it to automatically turn on. So let's just show you with a spectator's phone. So the moment they hand you the phone, you grab the phone, you're going to stick that there, but using the 2 fingers. So it's really going to be the ring finger and the index finger. You don't want to accidentally press that. Now, as this is the exposed view from underneath, as you flip everything around, that's when you press it, and now you come over and you place it on top. One way in which you can make sure that the timing works really good is by adding a gesture with your left hand or your right hand, depending how you're performing it. But you basically want to cover the light completely from your spectator's view and then almost make it seem like that light is coming up. Or you can do this sort of upward movement with your hand. Once you're going to see a shift of light. Rather than the light hitting here and reflecting, you're going to see the light kind of reflecting down. Now you show that the Firefly is on. You want to practice your timing here. You're going to have a moment in which you can now come up, and when the light is technically on, you're going to be able to display this to your spectators because the light will bloom and they won't really be able to see that Firefly is there. I'll show you a way in which you can hide it further after I show you this main method, but for now, just know you can do that. Then you move down. Also, anytime you have the phone with the Firefly underneath, you have to make sure you're angling the back of the phone closest to you. That way you don't accidentally show the edge of it. But once you come forward, once again you cover that light. You'll notice a tone shift ever so slightly, and you can buy yourself time by giving the illusion that you're pushing that light back down onto your phone. The beautiful thing is that this is buying you that time. Now you show that the light is there, and the way in which we steal the Firefly is by turning the phone over, because usually you don't hand your spectator's phone backwards. So you just turn it over, and naturally, as you see, you're going to be in perfect position to steal that Firefly as you hand it to them. And now you have your Firefly here ready to go. So let's say you don't want to attach this onto your spectator's phone. Super simple. That just requires you not to have the little putty. And then all you do is you have your Firefly almost in this JW grip. That way when you get your spectator's phone, let me turn the flashlight here for you. That way when you get your spectator's phone, is there ready to go, and you have the option of either using the automatic, which you will press it, and here all you do is you kind of hold it in place. You don't really want to push down because you may activate Firefly again, or the way in which we were originally doing this is you actually turn it on the flash setting, which means as you press it, it will turn on. Okay, now I'll turn my phone off here, but what you'll see is when we come over and we put it there, you're now in perfect position to turn it on at any time at all that you want. So you can just exposed view here, you'll just push, make sure you keep it pressed so that it's on, but as long as you keep that facing your spectators, they will not be able to see Firefly because of the natural glare. Just watch yourself in the mirror and you'll see exactly what I mean. So from here, the beautiful thing is that you have way more control of when or how long exactly that stays on, and whenever you want to make it vanish, you can, or if you want to bring it back, you can also make it come back. So those are some options we have there for you of how you can combine two of the tricks that we've already taught you, which is stealing the light from the spectator's phone and then maybe playing with it and then putting it back, as well as putting that trick together with turning your spectator's flashlight on as well. So whether you want to go with the option of attaching Firefly to your spectator's phone, or if you want to go more with the version where you have complete control of when you turn it on, we're going to leave that up to you. If you want to be extra sneaky, which is the way I like to do things, is you're going to create a moment of, oh, I forgot to do something. So the first thing you'll do is you'll ask for your spectator's phone. They'll come out and they'll give you their phone. So let's say they give you their phone, you're like, oh, actually, do you mind holding on to that for a second? And what I've done there, without his knowledge, is actually attach Firefly already, with the pretext of me bringing now out my phone so that I can turn on the flashlight. Because I say, I need to use my flashlight. I don't even want you to turn on your phone. Now can I use your phone? So now you're completely clean when you're asking for that phone. So once you get the phone, now all you have to do is turn it on. You'll turn it on, and now you're golden. Now it looks even cleaner than what we were telling you before, but that's just if you're feeling like you want to be a little sneaky. You can add that little bit at the beginning where you just ask to borrow the phone, you get it, you do your load, give it back to them. Just hold on to that. Oh, real quick, I have to turn on my flashlight. Now, they already know exactly what's going to happen, and the timing that you're going to be working with your shortcut can be even more precise because they already know how to hand you the phone. You already know what's going on. That way there's no fumbling going around. So if you want to kick it up a notch, I recommend you test this out. I hope you have an amazing time and a ton of fun playing with this as much as we have. Thank you so much. We have learned a lot of different ways on how to use your Firefly, using the different modes in different places, creating different illusions. Some are pranky style, others are completely magic ways. Also, how to enhance the tricks that you already currently do with the Firefly. This is by no means the end of everything that can be done. This is just some of the things that we're sharing with you, but feel free to explore, post them online, let us see it by tagging us at Murphy's Magic. We want to see the things that you come up with, Firefly. We want to thank you so much for picking up this product. We also want to thank you for putting the time to learn and spread the magic through your hands. It goes without saying, Titanis has put so much love, so much care, so much thought into this product to make it what it is today. I want to thank you so much for your time. I'm Javier Fuenmayer. Titanis sends you a huge, big bear hug. If you've ever met him, you know you've already received one and you know how amazing they feel. So thank you so much for picking this up, for supporting us, and we'll see you on the next one.